Hello and welcome to Some of My Friends Read Comics. We've got Vance.
You start making fun of my butt, all bets are off, mister.
We've got Chris.
Dramatically throwing a frisbee. This is for the Molokai cops.
both of your quotes are from the same scene. I'm Kia. Hi, welcome to the show. Today we're reading Squadron Supreme: Death of a Universe, which does contain a frisbee scene. Where somebody insults someone's butt. It's a joke, but it's still technically an insult. So if you were listening, when did we finish reading Squadron Supreme?
What are we doing? What's our long read this week? Amazing Spider-Man number 5?
Oh, you're right. And that's
so 5 episodes ago.
So 5 episodes ago, we finished Squadron Supreme, but there was this epilogue issue. It's one of the Marvel graphic novel series, which we read the Death of Captain Marvel, right? Did we ever read another in this line?
I don't think we ever did. And this is from like their late 80s run, which doesn't include like the X-Men God Loves, Madden Kills kind of stuff, or Days of Future Past.
Yeah. This was the 55th Marvel graphic novel, which was 1989 is right. I've seen a list of all of them somewhere, but I don't know.
So we did number 1, and now we're doing 55.
Yeah.
A lot of death. We could have saved this for Death Month.
We could have saved this for Death Month. There's a lot of death in this. We should eventually go back to some of those other ones, because there's definitely some interesting stuff in there.
God Loves, Man Kills. That would be the obvious one to do.
Yeah,
some of these I'm looking at, I'm like, we wouldn't do these. Dazzler the movie.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Yes.
Dazzler, that's a pretty famous one that I've never read. But yeah, we really enjoyed the Squadron Supreme series. I had read it before, and I'd always remembered it very, very well. But a great team book. So this picks up this like epilogue story came out 5 years later, where and I kind of thought it also took place 5 years later. We were
that
incorrect.
Would make sense, right?
It would. The whole rest of the series was in real time, so it was like a month between issues and a month between the story. And yeah, we were expecting a 5 year. Nope, it's a week later, a week after everything happened.
Which I keep forgetting. I'm like, I'd like to see how like Arcana's kid grew up that was born at the end of issue 12.
Right.
And then I forget, like, no, the baby's a week old. Okay, right.
No, but yeah, it has not grown up. But it does pick up like pretty much immediately. And
there is a recap in the book.
Right, and I'm wondering if we should talk about it now, or jump straight into the story, because the story just kind of like you don't need it. Well, you need the story.
The Squadron Supreme we did 12 episodes on it. We really enjoyed it. It's the back half of all of our episodes. If you want to go back and listen to it, we really did enjoy it. It's a great book by Mark Gruenwald and a lot of artists. He returns for this, and one of his artists, Paul Ryan, not the congressman, returns for this. And they were basically like Justice League analogs in a separate pocket universe published by Marvel. Right. So there's like a Superman analog, a Batman analog. They basically took over the world for a year, said they were going to fix all of the world's problems, hunger.
They took over America.
Oh,
not
just America. World. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
They solved all of like crime. They did it a little fascistically for a lot of our tastes. And so at the very end, they were like, y'all did this, but when you pass it on to the next person, they may not be as good heroes as you. And they're like, shit, that's true. So that we're good, but our next generation might not be. So they started dismantling and ending their program. That's where they ended the Squadron Supreme miniseries that was 12 issues long.
Right. And there's a bunch of deaths. Batman died. Hawkman died. Green Arrow died. Who else died?
Green Lantern lost all of his powers.
He got different.
No, his powers got absorbed into him instead of in his ring.
Right. He doesn't have a ring anymore. Yeah. He's still he's all like goth now, but
he's black alive. And white. Yeah.
But Flash is still around. And they recruited a bunch of villains into the team over the course of the year.
Yeah. A bunch of them are dead, but the Shape is still alive.
The Shape is the best character of all of them, so it's good that he's still alive. And yeah, some of the other villains who we'll talk about as we kind of go through them, and we'll point out who's who as we get through the book and talk about kind of who's alive and who's left. And
as their heads explode or they turn into pink mist and die.
Spoosh.
Oh, there's
some.
There's some great deaths in this book. I'm excited. I'm excited to
Yeah,
talk
I
about
hope
these.
you didn't have to map it the way you did on issue 12, like to try to keep track of that giant fight scene. I remember that was crazy for you when with the big fight scene and Squadron Supreme 12.
I took a lot of notes here, but we'll see how it goes because
It's a pretty
there is a lot
straightforward
happening.
book.
It is. It's only 82 issues. It's pretty dense.
82 pages, not issues.
I'm sorry,
Only 82
82
issues.
pages. Thank you. Yeah, 82 pretty dense pages, but I mean, yeah, let's just jump right into it. We open on New Year's Day, 3979. It's in the future. It's the 45th year in the reign of the Scarlet Centurion, who is like a Kang the Conqueror kind of analog. He's a time
he
traveler.
is Kang the Conqueror apparently. If you look up on like his like a wiki,
Oh.
it says Kang the Conqueror aliases Scarlet Centurion is one of them.
It's just another one. Whoa! All right.
So
great.
I don't know if he's the same Kang we have or just this universe's Kang. There are a few things that like it's published by Marvel. It's a separate universe, but the Skrulls and the Kree are still there. So there's some like weird carryover.
And like, let's be honest,
it doesn't matter.
Kang in general is very, who knows what that guy. So this is a Kang or the Kang or just a time traveling dude. Something. That's all you got to remember. Scarlet Centurion, time travel, bingo.
He's got a lot of ennui.
He's bored, man. He's got 3 trillion citizens. He's conquered everything, and he's like, just watching these lady fights. And that's the Overmind who's with him. Who's like, hey, boss, wanna liven things up with a bet? Yeah.
Oh, that's the Overmind. Okay.
They did call him the Overmind, and I was like, oh, even that guy works for the Scarlet Centurion in the future. Okay. And they he says, hey, I'm gonna bet on this one. I'm even gonna cheat to win and try to get a rise out of my boss, but that doesn't do anything. He's lost his passion. He's talking about how he's conquered every era that he's ever wanted, except for one, but that one's not even worth it anymore. But of course, he gets some news about this era. His team of scientists who are working on piercing the veil have pierced the veil, and they're real excited about it. And they're like, look at this thing we showed you. We're going to show you right now. So of course, he's talking about the era of the Squadron Supreme and how, it's going to have something to do with that. And he can't figure out how to get into the back half of the 20th century. And they're looking at it now on this TV screen that shows the past. And this giant hand has like appeared next to the sun, and it's growing and growing and growing. And then it like overtakes the camera and consumes everything, and it goes all fuzzy. And he's like, where'd it go? What happens next? And the scientists, they don't know. They're like, well, that's all we got.
It's so profoundly dumb, yet really intriguing because of its dumbness.
I love it.
Because it's the universe was destroyed in the year 1989. Yeah, but it's 39 whatever. Like, the universe is still here. How did it get destroyed? Well, it did, and now it's fine. What? Like, it's so dumb.
Yeah, and he doesn't. And he doesn't understand it either. Scarlet Centurion kind of just wants to understand it. He's like, is this even my past? Or is this just like another random past that I've somehow, like, what's going on?
I love it. I love it. It's such a great mystery. It's so, like, intriguing. Yeah.
I love that Scarlet Centurion's also pissed at his team. He's like, look, you've just given me more of a mystery to think about here. You haven't helped me at all. This is bullshit.
Yeah, he's like enhance, and they're like, that's all we have. This footage.
He says, all right, we'll play it again, and then after that, I want you to show me the Squadron Supreme and what they were doing in the 12 hours leading up to this. And I'm like, instantly, I'm on board with this premise because I know that that's what we're gonna watch now is like the last 12 hours leading up to this, and great. It's a great way to frame a comic.
It is, and like considering the history of the Squadron Supreme, as it has gone through like 5 or 6 reboots since then. Like, I don't know if they're going to survive. I honestly think they're going to die at this point. I don't know what's going to happen with this story. Because they're just getting relaunched, like, in Marvel Universe right now. I think there's a Heroes Rebirth, I don't know, event that has the Squadron Supreme with new versions of them very prominently.
That's their big push this year in 2021 is the Squadron Supreme, I guess, is going to be reinvented.
This is a very happy accident. We are not that on top of Marvel Comics.
No, they are that on top of us.
Don't take it back.
They are on top of us. They saw how much we loved it. The fans are demanding it. They're bringing it back.
Are we
for
the
podcast.
fans? Us three?
Yes,
We're the
yes.
only fans of Marvel left at this point. I think they're pretty small these days. I don't know what happened. But all right, so we jump to, and this is where we find out that it was like a week later. I at this point still thought we were like 5 years in the future, but no, we are coming back to right after that big fight.
What's his name? Red Stone or whatever his name is like, hey, I thought you said we were gonna shut down everything. To Hyperion.
Yeah, Red
right
Stone.
away.
We'll get to that a little bit. But we do start with Hyperion, who is like
Superman.
He's a Superman character, right? He's also been blinded very recently. He's wearing these special goggles that can help him see. They mention them once in this book in a great way later, but he is bringing the president and some of his council members in to talk to them to say, hey, Squadron has disbanded. We've realized the whole Utopia project from the past year was wrong. And they recap everything during this point, and that behavior modification machines that they were using, and Tom Thumb, and how he's still in stasis, and how they've got all the dead people in stasis, and how everyone's dead. And he's like, yeah, we don't have the right to do all this. Politicians, y'all got to take over again. I like the politicians are like, oh, geez, we do? Can we do it? All right.
Yeah, I like the president being like, I'm not ready for this.
And then he gets a message from a giant floating head. It's Professor Imam. We met him. He was kind of the Doctor Strange, the Doctor Fate kind of character. Wears a blindfold. He says, Hyperion, come to my sanctum at once. And Hyperion has not heard from this guy in years. And we did meet him when Nighthawk, the Batman character, went to get some help to fight the Squadron.
When they went to the R 616 Earth.
Yes.
Yeah, there was a diversion where they actually did go to our Marvel Comics and try to get Captain America to help, and Captain America's like, nah, I'm good.
Nah, we're not coming to your universe. So, I do also like every time we change scenes, we get a countdown of how much time is left, and it's just like it's pretty consistent throughout the book, and I love it. It's like it. It's great.
I do like that because it's less than 1 day, like from the start, and it's like counting down like 24, going to commercial where you're just like, 10 hours remain.
Mm-hmm. And like 24, they have immense abilities to globetrot and go across the planet in literally minutes or hours. I think I think somebody managed to get from like Europe to LA in a 3-hour flight in 3 episodes in 24 once. Like that kind of.
I mean, these are superheroes with like spaceships and stuff. So.
I guess I still feel like you gotta be fucking fast to get from like there to Prague or wherever Master Menace lives, but or just get everybody together in a room. Like they managed to get
like that's really the hardest part. Yeah,
I'll see you in 7 hours.
Hey, everybody! Like, we gotta have this meeting now, please.
I know. Like, if I called my parents and I'm like, we're gonna have a meeting, I'm like, they live 5 miles away. I'm like, you're gonna have to give me an hour, like at least.
I need 15 minutes just to get on Zoom, man.
I
know. So the Redstone, like, he was one of the villains who they had recruited, and he is, definitely a little bit muscle-headed. He's like, hey, I thought we were dismantling this old lab. Let's get to work. And he's just throwing pieces of lab around.
I can't tell if he's dumb and just like mad at the Squadron Supreme for like brainwashing him, or if he literally took the word dismantle to heart and was ready to go.
I think he was ready to go. And Zarda, who is Power Princess, she's like the Wonder Woman character. She comes in. She's like, well, no, you can't do it like this. Calm down. And she's getting mad, so they start fighting. And then Hyperion flies in because he wanted to take Zarda for the emergency, but he's like, all right, y'all stop fighting. Redstone, I'm leaving you in charge of the city. And that, like, I was just sitting here thinking, like, what? Why would you do that? But he also is like, now I'm in charge. Okay, let's see what we're going to do here. He's not going to be very good at it, I don't think, but he definitely feels important now, and that's good enough for Redstone.
Yeah. It is good. I love all the like Justice League Avengers stuff of like, oh, you're in charge of like the minutes for the meeting or whatever. Like I love all that stuff, and so Redstone being like, I guess I'm in charge. Like of what exactly? Like what are you in charge of?
The con. That doesn't matter. Like okay, sure.
Yeah, while Hyperion and Zarda are flying away, he's like, "Yeah, I think that guy just has a problem with women in authority." And
He
they
says
just
that,
don't.
but then he also says like he's got a problem with. I guess it's his upbringing. I guess I'm like that doesn't wash it away. You know, it just comes from a culture that disrespects women. It just is what it is, man.
It's just what it is. Yep.
Yeah, that's Hyperion guessing what his problem is. Which again, maybe his problem is just that he said you were going to shut down Squadron Supreme and you haven't yet.
Yeah, maybe y'all brainwashed him and then unbrainwashed him, and he wasn't happy about that. I don't
Although
know.
he wasn't brainwashed, was he? He was one of the recruits the new people with powers.
Oh,
It was
was
him,
he?
Moonglow,
Yeah.
Haywire, and
He
Inertia.
never got brainwashed.
We gave this book a lot of props for me learning and knowing who every character was, but it's been 5 episodes and 10 weeks, and I've forgotten everybody.
But yeah, there were
new
people with powers who joined who were moles who were not
That's
loyal
right.
to the squadron, and it was him. It was Moonglow, who I guess we're about to meet, and it was Inertia and Haywire, who we're also about to meet in a frisbee scene. And then was there one more? I feel like there was one more. But anyway, they got talked into joining the squadron. They're like, hey, we have powers, and then didn't mention like, oh yeah, we work for Nighthawk. We don't like the squadron.
Yeah, it was a nice, nice little tomfoolery there where they got infiltrated. But now they're, I guess, just all working together, and they're all good guys, even though they might not agree on the methods. I guess Redstone really is only in it for dismantling the squadron at this point. But we see Shape is hanging out with Arcana and her family. They got a big family, a bunch of kids, just had a new baby, Benjamin Thomas Jones, which made me think of Tom Thumb. I guess the middle name after Tom Thumb. But seems like a perfect, very magical baby. They talk about how all their kids have some different magical abilities. This baby's got a spark in its eye. It's going to be a magical one for
He's got
sure.
a magical eye thingy.
Ooh, like those posters you could buy at the mall. A magic eye.
That's right, magical eye.
Dr. Spectrum is kind of still looking at the bodies of his friends, his former friend, the Archer, his former lover, Foxfire. They're still in stasis, and Whizzer comes in. It's like, hey, you should get out of here. I'm sure they'll be fine. And Spectrum says something to the effect of like, anyone who wants to pull the plug on them is going to have to kill Dr. Spectrum to do it. And I at that point was like, oh, is this going to be like a life support story? Like about taking these? I really was like thinking this is where it's going to go. They didn't touch on any of that. So I'm kind of thankful.
I was more on the opposite end. I'm like, they're going to bring everybody back from the dead for this final battle.
I could have seen that, actually. It doesn't happen. Neither of these things happen. But we had some thoughts. That's good to good to note them. Haywire.
It's good to see these characters again. I really wish it had been 5 years later and not like a week.
Yeah. Oh, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, what are you gonna
do? So Dr. Oh no, we just did that scene. Haywire and Inertia, they're playing their frisbee in the park. It's a nice scene. It's probably the best scene of the book where they're just prancing
I forgot
around.
how horny these books were. I thought it was a little rapey until I realized this is just how they are, and they already are a couple. So it's okay.
I was just say they're flirting. That's not. There's nothing wrong with it.
Well, because previously somebody did like snap off a female team member's clothes.
Right.
Yes.
But that was in front of news cameras and a public.
That I think Spectrum did that to Power Princess.
Yeah. But this is like it's just two friends. There's no one else even there. They're getting all. She uses her inertia powers to like shoot down his boxer shorts after he snaps off her bikini. You know what? Let them have their fun. Moonglow though is watching all this. Moonglow has like illusion powers, very Loki kind of stuff. But she's still embarrassed because at the end of the fight scene of the last book, a week ago, she got knocked out and dropped her powers and was revealed to be actually very frumpy and plain. And she is so heartbroken about that. So she's just stayed invisible because she can't stand to.
If everybody knew, then it would be terrible. I feel like everybody else has bigger problems than this, but okay.
Yeah, like it's fine.
Like Moonglow, you don't even rank in the top like 10 of Squadron Supreme members whose shit I care about.
I still don't understand. I still don't understand if she knows she has a bad haircut, she can just get a better haircut.
Well, that's
Not that
yeah.
simple.
Like these are absolutely things she can control. Like you can't control your body
Yeah,
shape and you can't control your metabolism, but you can definitely control
control
your
your
hair.
haircut.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
has to
that's
have
so
a Midwestern mom haircut. It's required.
yeah. But we don't really see too much of her. Well, we'll talk more about her a little.
We don't. She's in the next scene, and then she's never in the book again.
I
Spoiler.
think, yeah, I
But
Well,
think so.
technically, yeah. But I do like that. That's a good. It is a good seeding of like she has illusion powers and she can make herself look different. And I'm like,
Mhm.
oh well, then it's a good way to throw you off the scent for something
Mhm.
later.
We get Master Menace now. Oh wait, no, hold on.
We meet the
We have
professor, Imam,
we meet the
Doctor
Professor
Doctor
Imam,
Fate.
yes, and he is like, "Hey, there's this hand in outer space. It's kind of more physical than mystical. It's growing really fast. We got to deal with it."
Mhm.
And Power Princess Hyperion, they're like, "Yeah, all right, let's deal with it. Can we maybe we can fly you out there and you can talk to it?" And he says, "Yeah, that's the plan." So that's their plan. And they fly out of they're not going to fly directly there. They got to fly to the base first, and figure out a way to get up to it. But this is one of my favorite details in this book. They fly out of his little temple thing, and it just crumbles to the ground. And Hyperion says, like, "Professor, your temple." It's like, "Nah, it's fine. It needed my inner harmony to stay up, and I'm not going to need it anymore. So we're good." Wow, that'd be kind of
That's a
cool if
cool
I
little.
just.
It was a cool little. It was a cool little effect. I liked it.
I like it. Imagine if my apartment just crumbled anytime I walked out and rebuilt itself around me. Good stuff. Zarda gets back to the base. She's like, "Hey, Wizard, gather everyone. We've got to have this meeting." But Spectrum has gone to find Lady Lark so that he can let her know what happened a week ago, and tell her that her boyfriend's dead, which is sad. At the same time, I feel like couldn't they use the leftover unbehavior modify machines on Lady Lark? Her boyfriend brainwashed her to fall in love with her, and they kicked the boyfriend out of the team. She left the team to be with him. Then he was like, "No, you're being too clingy. We got to get you out of here." And no, he went to like find the cure, and they have the cure,
They
but they
do
never use
because the
it.
concern, like earlier in the series, was like you don't want to unbrainwash a brainwashed person because you're not sure what's going to happen. But
But
Master
then,
Menace,
but
aka Doctor
yeah,
Doom, figured that out.
he figured that out. So, well, maybe they already got rid of those. Maybe
Well,
that's the first thing they dismantled. I don't know.
I mean, the good news is Archer's dead, so it's not like it's gonna ruin her life anymore, right? Right?
Right. Probably not. So they have this big team meeting. They say, "All right, we got to find a way to get to the other side of the sun before that thing gets to the sun, so that we can stop it from eating the sun and then everything else." And we're gonna go to our old friend Master Menace. He's honestly Master Menace, probably the star of this series in this book. He's my favorite character of the whole thing. He's wonderful. He's like Doctor Doom, just with like take the gloves off, let him do whatever he wants. Um, Master Menace sees that light. He's like, "Well, I'm not hanging out here. I'm fleeing to another dimension." But Scarlet
He's got his plan. I
Centurion,
love it. I love it. He's like already like I know how to do this. I'm just going.
he's like, I'm packing up. We're gonna get out of here." It's just how he does. He's just a dimension hopper, man. That's all he does. But Scarlet Centurion comes in from the future. It's just a hologram, like a temporal hologram thing. And he says, "Hey, I want to help you fight this thing while it's small right now, because eventually, if it wins here, it could find another dimension or our time period or something." And he says, "Huh, makes a lot of sense. Sure." And they team up. And I'm excited because that seems like a good team up. And then Hyperion comes in, and I'm like, "Ooh, are we going to get more team up?" And he's like, "Hey, I'm here for help." And Menace says he wants to make Hyperion beg. And he cracks a joke about how Hyperion's vision here. It's like, "Huh, what? You just want like a car? What, for a sightseeing trip?" What a dick. This guy's mean. But he says, "All right, yeah, I've got a plan. I can make some adjustments to all my dimension stuff, and we can send this thing away to another dimension." And he says, "All right, but I have to work on making modifications. It might take me a while. Scarlet Centurion, can you take me to your time in the future? I'll work on it. And then we just drop me back here a minute later. That way I have infinite time." And I'm like, you know what? That's a great plan, and I love using time travel like that. It's perfect. And he says, "Be right back," and they pop away. And Hyperion is sitting there waiting. We get a time update. We're about 8.5 hours left.
10:15.
Hyperion.
It's 10:15.
Hyperion waits for 46 minutes, and then he says, "Jeez, all right, fuck this, I'm out of here." And he gets up to leave, and just then they come back, and they're like, "Hey, where you going, man?"
He watches one episode of X-Files, and he's like, "I gotta get out of here."
It's just enough to like. I want to know what he did for 46 minutes.
He probably panicked. Like it was like because you get that like it's like well they said they're going to be here in
Yeah.
a minute, and then you're like but a minute passed like well,
And
it's
I
going to
have-
be next minute. I'm not going to start an episode of X Files right now.
I have no way of contacting them. Oh,
There was a
God,
Fantastic
terrible.
Four Matt Fraction book where we read it. FF, the Future Foundation with Mike Allred. And like they're gonna be gone for a minute, and then they weren't. And like, oh, such intrigue.
No.
But these guys did come back. So.
Yeah,
they
they
did come
just
back.
come back 46 minutes later, and I do like Hyperion's snooty with Master Menace, and then he takes his helmet off, and he has white hair now. It's been like years that he spent
It's been-
working on this.
15 years he's worked on this project straight. And he's like, "Sorry, Hyperion, I forgot exactly when I left." Ugh. And I'm
you
thinking,
can see that like I got my back on the other side of the talk. I'm like, fuck, do you remember what time we left? What time did we leave?
It was like
sometime around
11-ish.
I feel like they could have looked it up. Like they could have just looked back into their little past viewfinder window thing and just been like, "Yeah, where I see where I was, and we're gonna pop in right after that." Cool.
Or
No.
Menace just decided to fuck with them.
That could be it too. It's like he feels like that's even better if they were like, "All right, let's keep watching. Once he gets up and starts to leave, that's when we'll pop in." And I believe that 100% more. I love that. Yeah, that's definitely how it went. Okay, so they're all teamed up now. Everyone is friends. Originally, they went to Master Menace to like just get the vehicle, but he's got the whole plan, and they're like, "All right, working out even better than we thought."
Yeah. Well, and also he said like I solved the problem pretty quickly, but I needed to figure out how to get it small enough to like send it through the time thing.
Oh yeah,
That's what
And-
that's the stupid science detail that I'm like, yes, this is the verisimilitude. So I
It's-
like that.
Yeah,
I
I
like
like
it.
Hyperion just being like, like he just has no frame of reference. He's like, okay, I don't know.
So we start to get the whole team together back at the base. Lady Lark has seen that Archer's dead. She's crying over the body. But she does decide she wants to join the team. She found Blue Eagle's old artificial wings. Blue Eagle's also dead.
He killed her
Hawkman.
boyfriend.
Yeah, she doesn't know that. She doesn't need to know that. Power Princess does want Arcana to stay behind because she just gave birth a week ago, and Arcana is not happy about it. But then we get everyone on board the ship. Master Menace is mad because they're late, but he's just like always snapping insults at them. He's great. He's the best villain. Moonglow is sitting there on the ship thinking, no one suspects. I wonder who it could be.
A normal thing to say.
A normal
Well,
thing
she's
to-
worried that everybody like at this point. Spoiler: it's not actually Moonglow. But I'm at this point. I'm like, oh yeah, she's just still worried about people thinking she's fat. I don't know why I want that. Like, this is a dumb thing for people to be obsessed with, but okay, girl. Like, there's like 20
We're-
other things we're all worried about, like the end of the universe, but
Yeah.
no one
Yep.
suspects you're fat. Okay.
We're all worried. Is she slightly overweight? Uh-oh. Hey guys, our spaceship is running out of fuel faster than I thought. Is
No one
somebody-
suspects.
Is some-
Somebody slightly heavier than they look. 'Cause you have
'Cause
to tell us.
Oh no! Oh, poor thing.
Yes.
But in actuality, it is not Moonglow. We do not see Moonglow for the rest of the book, so I do
Yeah.
not know what Arcana did with her.
She's
But
just hanging out at home, I guess.
yeah. The spoiler alert! I was just like, all right, this is Arcana just like sneaking on board because she wants to be part of the team. Yeah.
Yep.
Um,
And then we start getting to the death parts of this. book.
Oh yeah. So as they're making their way out, exiting Earth's orbit, Redstone just starts getting fucked up. He's like shriveling up into nothing, losing all of his mass. They're like, oh, maybe it's the G-force that we're hitting. Maybe it's being away from the Earth. Nobody knows. And Hyperion says, Spectrum, get him out of here. Get him back to Earth. He's like, oof, okay, get him out of there. And then Spectrum, we see him re-enter the ship, and he goes, yeah, he's dead. Sorry. Like, whoa, okay, that's a little abrupt. And Haywire says, that really bites. And I'm like, yep, but we gotta keep going. So let's keep going.
Yeah. One down.
One down. And at this point, this sets a standard in this book where you're like, oh, anyone can die just like that. Got it. Okay.
Even our favorite Redstone, the guy we all loved.
Oh man. He said something else that was like, I don't think I wrote it down, but it was another just kind of like, oh, I know everything, just kind of line. This thing is still growing. They get up to it in the air, and they got to set these bombs in 4 positions around the thing to create like an EMP sphere. Hyperion is going to fly to the farthest one. Lark is going to take the closest one. And Whizzer and Spectrum are going to do the 2 in the middle. Whizzer, in order to fly out there, says, hey, Spectrum can make me a flying machine that's treadmill powered so I can run it to where I need to get. And it's just like made by Spectrum's light powers?
Sure.
Right. Okay, cool.
These speedsters love their treadmills. Isn't that what also Flash uses to time travel?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was his time travel machine.
Treadmills. It's kind of weird.
I feel like those would fall apart. Like at the velocity, I'd be like hitting the ground if I was that fast.
Yeah, I'd like run a hole like into it. Oh yeah. So we've got a problem though. This entity is going to reach the sun in 9 minutes, but Hyperion is not going to reach the farthest position for 15 minutes. And they're like, well, we got to save the sun because if not, then that's bad, And Inertia suggests her power. She says, I can use my inertia force to kind of push it back. And Moonglow is like, hey, maybe we can combine my magic with Professor Imam's and we can like augment your power or something.
Yeah, and Power Princess is like, your magic?
Yeah, she's like thinking about that's not how Moonglow's powers work. I'm not going to say anything. So at about 6 hours left, they try it. Moonglow and Imam like kind of like force hold Inertia into place. And Inertia is like, all right, here we go. Let's do it. And they're like, what's happening? They're like, relax. Takes a second for my force to like reach the thing, right? We're still far away. And then she just implodes into a pink mist and creates a breach in the ship. And it's what was the sound effect that we used here?
No, Spoosh was another one.
Yeah, it goes voosh.
Voosh.
It's just like it's brutal. It's one of the most it's a comic book death that I don't know that I'll forget in a while.
Yeah, it's
just like
I mean, it's I'm not the most picky about like power level stuff, but when Inertia's like, maybe I can do this, I was like, no, you can't. And then Power Princess is like, no, you can't. And then this happened. I was like, well, I guess we were right.
Yes, we were right. And then she just straight up exploded. It was so much imploded. Whatever. There's a breach. Shape covers it. Haywire is like losing his mind because that was his girlfriend. He's like, what? No, maybe she's out there and we gotta go find her. And Power Princess punches him out because can't have him going all haywire on everything. Arcana momentarily drops that she's pretending to be Moonglow in order to get things fixed. And who saw it? Scarlet Centurion saw it, but he didn't say anything either. And the thing consumes the sun. And they're like, oof, well, that's bad. Power Princess is like distraught. They're like, oh, we lost. And Master Menace says, actually, I think it's probably fine. If we still can win, then I think my science will make him regurgitate the sun before it's done.
Yeah, if these bombs go off, it will somehow make him
He's
not...
He's going to vomit up the sun. It'll be fine.
Which also means that time limit he mentioned earlier that Inertia died for really didn't matter too much. So that's fine. By the way,
he loves his menace and his mastering.
Master Menace did measure. It was like, that was like maybe a fraction of a second that she pushed it back. So that was no good.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't like apologize or say anything about like, whoops, that's my bad that this person is dead.
Do you think he's right though, or do you think he's just full of shit?
I think he's right. I think
he's doing his best, but he's an asshole.
Okay.
Yeah, they mention. There's like a line in here that I'm like, you know what? I do believe that. Because we see Whizzer out there, his feet are all bloody on the treadmill, which I did not expect to see because he's running so fast. and they're like literally torn up shoes and everything. And he activates his code in the thing, and they all do, and the sphere activates. And I thought the entity was going to be like inside the sphere as they activate it, but no, the thing is still going to walk into it. So they're all just standing there like, patience while it gets in, patience, all right. And then it starts to approach it, and its hand enters, and the whole bubble just kind of bursts, and he's failed. And you're like, oh damn, I lost. Well, that sucks, but I am out of here. And he teleports out of there into another dimension. He's done. Which, again, I appreciate. Professor Imam does say that like he senses that he tried his best, and I do believe that Master Menace really was like just ashamed that 15 years of work wasn't enough to make this thing happen, and he's just like, well, that sucks.
I like it.
I'm not gonna hang around and die though. I've got dimensional transportation.
Yeah, no reason to do that. Scarlet Centurion.
But I do like that. I do like that it gave him like a failure, and like I mean, it's still like a dick move that he just like bailed. He didn't go down with the ship and the rest of the team. But I do like that he's like, I tried.
Or save the rest of the team, which he probably could have done.
No,
yeah.
I guess now maybe it's not as much of a human moment, but it felt like it at the time.
He had no interest in saving anyone else. I still believe him. Like he's looking out for himself. I don't know. Maybe he didn't have the dimensional power to take it.
He's such a good villain though. He's such a
He's a great villain.
He really.
Well, it's funny too because he's just Dr. Doom.
Yeah, I know.
He really.
We're gonna learn a little more about Dr. Doom today.
Scarlet Centurion, he's not leaving. He says, "No, I'm just here to watch the show. I'm in no danger. I'm just a hologram." But he's like, "Actually, maybe there's something I can help with. I'm gonna go get something. Be right back." So he leaves. Zarda tells the four that are flying out there, "Hey, we failed. Probably isn't enough time for them to make it back to the ship, so don't even bother. Bye." I'm like, "Oh, all right. That's a way to die." And everyone, like, it's a bunch of sad scenes. Wizard is thinking about how he failed. Hyperion's thinking, like, maybe I'll try to save Lark or Wizard. Lady Lark singing. That was a sweet scene.
Yeah, that was nice. And then that's when Dr. Imam or whatever realizes, like, oh, that's a guy. Like, it's a black hole person. Doing this.
So they're all just sitting there sad, and 4 hours left. Imam's face just like explodes with radiation, like energy, and he's made contact. He's just like, I've made contact. And yeah, this whole story. Okay, so we get the whole story about this guy. It was a human named Tom, and I'm like, ooh, Tom Thumb? Is this related to him? And we're like, okay, he was a scientist in another Earth-like dimension. We see the scientist, and it doesn't look like Tom Thumb, so I'm like, okay, maybe not. He blasted himself with some like machine of dimension stuff that he made, but it went haywire, turned him into this big blob of nothingness. The heroes of that world had to deal with it, and we see the Thing. Who else was recognizable here? They named Aquarius, who I've never heard of.
Quasar.
What else? Quasar
and Thundra.
Quasar and Thundra. That's who that was. Okay. So they had to deal with this thing, and Aquarius jumped inside of it.
Famously, the evil Hyperions who infatuated with her during our Squadron Supreme.
That's right. Okay, that's who that was. So we learn about that, how it's this guy, and they thought they destroyed it, but they just sent him to a different dimension. He's eaten 7 universes so far, and just kind of keep going to another universe, eating universes. And then at this point, I'm thinking, so Galactus? Is this just like another character from 616 that's being referenced that I didn't know about?
No, yeah, this is just a Marvel 2-in-1 character.
I see. It's a tying up a loose end, maybe. Interesting.
The like Marvel Marvel appendix stuff calls him the Nth Man.
The Nth Man?
I don't think they ever call him that in this book, though.
No, they could just call him the Entity, and they call him by his name once they find it. But yeah, he's just like a weird scientist dude, and they're like, okay. So he's made contact with him mentally, and he's like, he's just kind of doing it. He just keeps going. And then Professor Mom dies because that was all his energy. So he's out. Arcana then reveals herself to Zarda, so they can at least like be sad together. And then Scarlet Centurion returns with the Overmind, and he says, "Hey, the Overmind, he's got mental powers. He can order this thing to go back. Yeah, that'll work." So he does it. He gives a big old "Go back from whence you came," and then the Overmind's head explodes.
Spoosh. Yeah, Overmind's interesting because we didn't actually even see him in the Squadron Supreme miniseries that we read. But right before, I guess, he had enslaved all of the Squadron Supreme and mind controlled them and basically taken over America and left America in shambles weeks before our Squadron Supreme proper series.
Right. Yeah, in the Defender storyline.
So like for them to have to like rely on him, I think is a big deal that may get glossed over if you're not paying attention to the whole story.
Yeah, they did mention it, and he's like, and then y'all are gonna owe me. But he's very he's on, but he's like, I can do this, but he can't.
I do like that. Now you mentioned that, like everybody, like any other things, like my powers can definitely do it if I just grip my teeth hard enough, and everybody else in this book's heads just explode.
Right. Yeah. It's so great. It's so very refreshing, to be honest, of just like, you're not strong enough to deal with this thing. You shouldn't have even tried.
Yeah, it's you're dealing with like God level powers, and you're just a powerful person. Like you can't do this.
Yep. As soon as the Scarlet Centurion is like, well, I'm gonna head back. There's nothing else for me to do here. And Arcana begs him to take her child. It's only a week old. I didn't even know that thing was on the ship. I had no idea it was even there.
She had a baby Bjorn that she illusioned Moonglow into.
And that was part of the no one suspects? Was that not only does anybody not suspect that I am actually not Moonglow, I also am holding a baby that nobody suspects?
Look, he's a week old. He can't drink formula, Vince.
I mean, well, he can't. He should probably stay with his mom, yeah.
That's fair.
But also, like, I mean, I don't know. It's so weird that this story doesn't, like, establish it, like, halfway through, like, actually I'm Arcana. And then everybody just has to deal with that because, like, well, it's too late. We can't send her back. Like, nobody does that.
Right. Yeah. Nobody has the kind. I mean, Zarda is like, I'm actually glad you're here because now I can die with people I like. Yeah. Just Moonglow back on Earth is like, wow, I feel like somebody burned me 1,000,000 miles away.
But Scarlet Centurion says, "No, I'm not taking your baby. I'd be terrified. Get out of here." And he leaves. And we got 3 hours left now. We get some nice little updates about like Venus being consumed. It's getting closer. Haywire combs his hair. The ship starts to approach Earth again at 1 hour left. Not enough time to actually land, so they just stay in a low orbit. And at the end, Arcana is cradling her baby, and she says, "Goodbye, sweet angel. I'm sorry life had to be so short." And the baby says in like a mental projection thing, it says, "Don't worry, mommy." And she's like, "What?" And we got 7 minutes left, but it's counting down. And the baby's glowing white. We get this full white page that just says the end of the world. I'm like, oh, all right. World ended, I guess. And then we, on the next page, we see that this baby has traded places with the doctor who was inside the entity, with Mr. Tom Leitner. And he says, yeah, that guy had his name was the same as my middle name. And he was bored. And, I was set to be Earth's new Wizard Supreme. I had all this magical ability. Imam passed the mantle on to me as he died. And so I was able to communicate with Mr. Leitner. We switched. So now that he's out there, Tom Leitner is the new Squadron Wizard Supreme. Let me help y'all out. Baby body? No, he's in a human. We saw him in the human body, right? He was just wearing a towel.
So they don't fully switch. I was like, did they switch physical places? Not entirely. Okay.
No. Yeah, the baby is now like 2001 baby. He's a space baby.
He's a space baby because even the silhouette of the entity is baby shaped now.
Okay.
And the Tom Leitner is standing there in a towel, and Shape is like, "Hey, who are you? How'd you get in here?" And he says, "Well, I'm magic." And he shows him by magically putting clothes on. And Shape's like, which I liked. This book needed more Shape, but I'm happy with the Shape that we got.
Magically giving himself a cape, and it's like, oh, you must be magic, because otherwise.
And the Wizard Supreme says, "Here's what I can do for you. Those 4 heroes that are still alive out there." Or was this the baby who said that?
No, that was Tom.
Yeah, he says, "I can bring back those 4 heroes for you that are still alive out there." And he says, "But then I gotta go. I got a lot to do."
Right. He can't bring back the dead people. He can't do anything else, and he's got to go.
But I'm saying, why do you got to go? You're in a universe that isn't even your own. You got to what do you got to do? And so that's the end of that. And we get to New Year. Oh, of course, Arcana is sad that her baby is gone, but the baby did just save the entire universe, which is pretty cool. And we end this book with New Year's 3985. It is the Scarlet Centurion just sitting there being sad that he didn't see what happened. I thought he could have stuck around the whole time because he was just a hologram. What happened? He got scared?
He basically feels like a real asshole. He's like, man, I could have just I have 100 people who could have taken care of this baby. But
this whole page, it's just like the Scarlet Centurion's inner thoughts of just like, I'll never know this, and it's like maybe this, and I could have done that. Oh well, that's it's poor guy.
It's a fun Twilight Zone. What a twist, though! If he had only shown some humanity to take the baby, then the universe would have been destroyed.
Yeah, the Scarlet Centurion being 1,000 years ago. I said you too to the barista. What was I thinking?
Yeah, so that's, again, not what I expected, but, I enjoyed it. I didn't like it quite as much as, the Squadron Supreme series proper, but it did have really that same kind of style of writing and just more of these characters, so I couldn't not love it,
Yeah, it's weird. What I really liked about the Squadron Supreme, and I think it abandoned in its final issue, was kind of the idea of the fascistic undertones of superheroes. And I thought, but in a traditional comic book. But also it had really good characters, and it was really nice. I mean, it's been a few months since we read them. I was like, it's good to see y'all again. I'm really happy. And I think the stakes are high because we know that the book has been rebooted several times, and they're not in the main universe. They could all die. This whole book could end. So the stakes are high. It's good. The characters are fun. There's so many people they're juggling. The adventure was good. I liked the visuals of the space hand person David thing taking over the sun. I really thought that was cool. It was a good read. I don't know if it appeals to me on the same level that the other Squadron Supreme did, but it was nice to see everybody again.
Right. At the end of the day, it was an adventure compared to something that was it had a lot more moral ambiguity to it. Yeah. Which this didn't really.
This is a straightforward sci-fi romp. The Justice League could have done this.
Right. Yeah. I mean, except there's some stakes, but again, the characters who die are mostly the new characters. You don't see any of the core members die. Most of the key folks all make it. We just lose the Overmind and Inertia and Redstone, characters that we don't really care about.
Yeah.
Whereas the actual series, we had Batman died.
Yeah, I think this would have been a good way for when they did in the Ultimate Universe. And I even read Ultimate End, and I don't remember how it ended. But if they'd ended the Ultimate Universe in this same fashion, I think it would have been cool. To see,
it's interesting, and it's funny too. Mark Grunwald wrote this we said October of '89. In August of 1990, he reintroduces the Squadron Supreme's storyline in Quasar. I don't know if we'll read that. Probably not. But they do show up there. Hyperion, spoiler alert, gets his eyes back. He finds out he's mild spoiler, I guess, for Marvel phase or whatever. Hyperion learns he's an Eternal, and so he can, I guess, fix his eyeballs.
Good job, Hyperion.
I don't know a darn thing about Eternals if they can do that or not. So okay.
We didn't really talk much about the art in this, which I think is worth talking about because it is the same. Paul Ryan did most of the pencils for the miniseries, but just through different like inking and coloring, this book looks very different. It does have a like a more mature feel to the way that it's produced because it was part of their graphic novel line, which like there's better like shadows and shading throughout the whole thing.
Did they get better paper on those books?
That's also very possible. I don't know.
Yeah, they may have.
That then colored for said better paper. I don't know.
I don't know, but it's really nice.
It looks good though. It does look good. I feel like all of these that we've kind of read or flipped through, they look better. I don't know if Thanos Quest falls under the same umbrella, but that also looks.
Thanos Quest was not part of the. Was it part of this?
No, because it was 2 issues.
I don't think so.
But it looked
it was
much
like a
better
2
than anything else.
Yeah.
As like a special
I wrote down the name of the inker was Al Williamson and the color was Paul Becton. Just because, I don't know which part of it exactly it was, but just like the overall shading and everything. Like you can see, it's like these frisbee scenes as well. They're just like these nice landscapes, but you can like see how it's just really nice.
Yeah, the frisbee scene is, of course, what we'll always remember.
Always
the death of the universe.
Yes, and the head exploding in the pink mist, and that's stuff. I don't know if I can forget an exploding head anytime soon.
I guess, Kia, have you seen the scene that I referenced in my quote when I said this is for the Molokai cops? Have you seen that scene in Hard Ticket to Hawaii?
I don't know what that is. No,
I'll show it to you afterwards. It's
okay.
A classic scene involving a razor bladed frisbee is the best way I can describe it. An 80s scene that is classic that Your Stupid Minds covered in an episode we really liked. That movie is very stupid, and so that's what.
And what was the movie? Hard to Get to Hawaii?
Hard Ticket to Hawaii.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Hard Ticket to Hawaii. Cool. All right. Well, that's the Squadron Supreme. Anything else to say about it before we jump to Spider-Man?
No.
Well, did I mention at the beginning of the show that we're also reading Amazing Spider-Man?
I mentioned it.
Good. Thank you.
Yes, I got it.
I know. I always forget. We're getting to Doctor Doom here. Ooh, Spider-Man is finally going to run into Doctor Doom after 4 issues. His 5th one, gotta go big.
Well, as Chris said last episode, I think Doctor Doom's first appearance is in Fantastic Four number 5, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So
I did say that
he did number 5 of these big Marvel books.
Maybe honestly, I think Stan Lee at some point you can see periods around this time when he starts to use he'll come up with a villain and he'll rotate that villain through a bunch of different superhero books just to be able to not have to come up with any. So I can imagine all right, Spider-Man number 5. What did I do for Fantastic Four number 5?
Yeah. I know. You'll never guess who the second member of the Frightful Four is after the Wizard. It's the Sandman. They're just like, hey, that guy's cool. He can fight the Fantastic Four. He's got sand powers. He's a natural enemy of the Human Torch.
How concerned at this time were they about making a shared universe? Was that deliberate, or I don't even know if DC was doing that deliberately, rotating characters and making it feel like a lived-in universe? Because that's obviously a big appeal of the movies and a big appeal of Marvel Comics now, is that everybody lives together.
I mean, this was the probably up until. Well, I mean, Grunwald cared about it, who we just read when he was an editor. He paid attention to continuity. But this was a period, I mean, Roy Thomas, kind of famously, he had index cards where he would be like, okay, Electro is here. This is what happened to him at the end of Captain America number whatever. So if he's introduced in the start of this new issue, we should mention that this is where he was. So this is probably, I mean, this is at the beginning of it still. But this is an era where they are very conscious of every time a character comes back, we should say where they've been.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And I imagine the shared universe was maybe less deliberate and more just natural in the sense that it was Stan Lee writing all these stories at first and just reusing stuff to keep it easy and giving himself more things to write about. And because it was just sure, we've seen this person before and we're just continuing their story. especially because when we see Doctor Doom here, we do get like a little tie back to his last appearance with the Fantastic Four and how it's not just him remembering something that the audience hadn't seen before. Like we saw Doctor Doom encountering the Fantastic Four like that, and that's how their encounter ends. But we get an explanation as to how he survived.
Mm-hmm.
So
it also feels like cross promotion though to me. It's like this guy's awesome.
Yeah,
Go check out Fantastic Four. Like we're in here a lot.
Yeah. Well, and when you think about it, like the Fantastic Four was in issue 1. Spider-Man tried to join, and then issue 3, Doc Ock, during that fight, like he meets Johnny Storm out of costume. So like the Fantastic Four has been in 2 issues already, and now they're in a 3rd issue.
3 of 5. They're taking over this book here.
They're like right below J. Jonah Jameson and Flash Thompson. It was like important characters.
That's hilarious. I do love how like cheeky this book is, by the way.
This is the funniest one so
I was about to start our podcast. Like, have you ever noticed when you read a comic, the opening caption tells you you're about to read the most exciting story ever written? Well, maybe that may not happen this time, but love it.
Like,
so
yeah,
cheeky.
but you know what? We'll find out. We're just gonna read it, and that's what it goes into. Like, yep, let's just keep going with the book. Why not? I like it. It's a good book. We open with everyone is watching J. Jonah Jameson's show. He's doing a report on Spider-Man again. That's all he does. And all the kids at the bowling alley even stop their game to watch this thing. And like Peter Parker, of course, is a nerd, and he's just like, I gotta throw suspicion off of myself. Well, maybe J. Jonah Jameson has a point, and so hates
just
Peter.
makes him look more like baby Ben Shapiro. Like I think that Tucker Carlson might be right. God damn.
Shut up, Peter Parker. No wonder everyone hates that kid. But Dr. Doom is a big fan of J. Jonah Jameson, obviously, watching his show back in his lair.
This is hilarious. This
it makes sense to me.
It does make sense. I love that he's like, who's this menace? Huh. Well, the reason I get my ass kicked always by the Fantastic Four is because there's 4 of them and only 1 of me. If I had somebody else, there's clearly this menace I'm seeing about on the news.
Yeah.
If I recruit him, we can team up. It'll be awesome. Which is such a fun twist that I hadn't considered. I feel like you can only do that like early in Spider-Man. You can't really do it much later in the run.
Yeah, because then everyone knows who he is. Yeah, so it's your only opportunity, and Stan Lee did not miss it.
It's good. It's really good. Well done,
good.
Ditko and Lee. I'm proud
Was
of
it was it Chip Zdarsky? Somebody recently had Spider-Man like pretend to like summon spiders against like a common bank robber, and they like freaked out. They're like, "Oh no, don't do it."
That's good. And J. Jonah Jameson also offers $1,000 to anyone who can disclose Spider-Man's identity. Which at first I thought that was going to be Dr. Doom's plan. Like, I could use $1,000.
He has a time machine just sitting there gathering dust, and he's like, "But $1,000,
yeah, come in handy." But he remembers when he fought the Fantastic Four. He like fell out into a cloud. He did like a leg drop deal into the cloud. It was great. It looked awesome. And then he hit some glider thing and glided back to safety. So that explains his last appearance. He's also now figured out how to contact Spider-Man on his spider sense. Which, didn't we just read something like that recently? I feel like that sounds so familiar. Like, was it in one of these other issues where he's like, "Who's contacting me?"
Yeah,
on this spider
feel like another
frequency.
villain was able to do that.
Is it the
too.
Chameleon?
Yeah, I think the Chameleon did that.
The Chameleon somehow called him.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and then he met at a building or whatever, and it was a frame job.
Yeah.
Yep.
By the way, $1,000.63 is worth $8,600 today.
Oh, okay.
Still pretty good. Still pretty good.
Less than 10K though, to rat out your friends.
Again, Dr. Doom has a working time machine. He could go back and like pick up, from a shipwreck. He could just like take the gold as it's sinking and just be like, "So long, suckers," and then come back to the present time. But instead, he's bothering Spider-Man.
Yeah, he says, "Hey, Spider-Man, we're both outcasts. Do you want to join me against the Fantastic Four?" Spider-Man says no, and he says, "Are you sure? Because if you're not with me, you're going to be my enemy." And he says, "No." And he webs him up. I love this panel where Doctor Doom is just standing there, not even fighting. He's just like covered in web. It's kind of a shitty drawing, to be honest, and I love it.
Yeah.
It does look very unfinished.
It looks very unfinished, and it's even better because in the next panel, it's revealed that it's a Doom bot because the real Doctor Doom just pops out of a closet or something that was right there. And I love this panel so much. This is my panel of the week right here. It is just, well, it was my panel of the week until a little bit later. Then he tries to get Spider-Man with a trap door, and Spidey like escapes out of a window into some water.
You know Doom's how far we are in this book, by the way? 5 pages.
I know, right?
Page 7 and 20 something.
I was like, holy shit.
It says 6, but there was like a promo picture.
Yeah, there's a splash page at the start.
But Doom's like, all right, I'm gonna let this guy go. He could still serve me. I'm gonna find his identity. And Spider-Man though is not done. He's like, I'm gonna go tackle that jerk. But Doom blows up the deserted building that he was in. Spidey takes some pictures of the fire so he can sell them to J. Jonah Jameson. He goes to J. Jonah Jameson and he kind of speaks up. He's like, hey, man, everyone's kind of wondering, just like, why do you attack Spider-Man so much? And Betty Brant speaks up and agrees. And she says, yeah, people are thinking you might just be jealous of him. And Peter's like, hey, J. Jonah Jameson's secretary was on my side. Okay, cool. She's kind of cute, too. All right.
Yeah, isn't she his first girlfriend? Is that?
Yes.
Okay,
I believe so. Yeah.
Also on Jameson hair color watch, he's back to being gray. He was
good.
He ran out of dye.
He ran out of dye again. He was red last issue, gray the issue before, and red the issue before that. It keeps alternating.
He'll figure it out. He's an aging man. You got to age gracefully, and sometimes it takes people a while to figure out how to do that. So it's okay, J.J. Jameson. You'll figure it out. Back at school, Flash Thompson is dressed as Spider-Man in order to trick Peter Parker, and his costume looks great. And I can already see where this is going, and I love it. Doom.
I love that he lives in a world where he can make a exact duplicate of Spider-Man's costume, a character who's only had 5 adventures.
Mm-hmm.
That
it looks good.
Yeah, people don't really know, but he's got exactly the same costume.
That like literally 4 pages earlier says rare video footage of Spider-Man that we never get.
Yeah.
Is Now Magazine in color?
Ooh, it could be. I don't know.
I think so. We talked about it. It seems like a Life magazine, so right. I think it would be.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah. I mean, to be fair though, Spider-Man was at their school last issue.
That's true.
He saw him up close. Yeah. Well, he says he got the gals to make it, so the gals must have seen him up close as well. Those women always paying attention to fashion, so one look and they know how to recreate it, right? Is that a stereotype about women that they can instantly recreate fashion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Including the underarm webbing.
They did a great job.
It's a little long. Liz messed up just a smidge.
Yeah. Spider-Man's underarm webbing is not that elaborate.
So Doom then uses a way to like sense spider impulses so he can hone in on Peter. And Doom is like starts going after to do this while Flash Thompson is about to jump out at Peter from behind a fence. And Dr. Doom just like walks up to Spider-Man right behind him along this fence.
Flash Spider-Man.
And Flash Spider-Man. But even if this was real Spider-Man, your plan was just to like walk up to him? Is that what was going to happen? Because right. Flash Thompson notices and like kind of starts and turns around. It's like, huh, what's that? And then Dr. Doom gets scared. It's like, oh, he's seen me. Shit. What do? I can't let this plan that I've been working on forever get ruined. And I'm like, this does not seem like you have anything planned, man.
Right? It's a good thing there wasn't like a dog in the backyard. He would have to gas the dog.
Oh man, I love this scene so much of just them like seeing each other. I'm like, and Dr. Doom shoots him with a laser, and Flash Thompson does not jump out to scare Peter Parker. Peter Parker just keeps walking, and all the kids are like, "Oh, he didn't jump out." That's lame. Oh.
I like the split screen. We don't even actually get into Peter's head. It's just like he's just walking.
Yeah, he's just the whole time. He's just been walking by here.
No spider sense went off, did it?
Yep.
No, he's like, I'm safe.
He goes home. They do. I like when the kids call him. Oh well. So first we see Doctor Doom on the news at home. Him and Aunt May are watching TV, and he's like, Spidey is my captive. I'm gonna kill him unless the Fantastic Four surrender.
No. I want to establish what he says. He says, unless they promise to disband, they've got to they've got to break their charter. Their Fantastic Four are no longer, and then they've got to surrender to me one at a time. One at a time, he clarifies. I can't have all four of y'all because y'all could jump me. Just one at a time, come and then
surrender. That's a
1
good plan.
hour.
1 hour. And on May it just says, well, at least his captive is just Spider-Man.
He's as much a menace as Doctor Doom. Like, really?
We get Liz Allen calls Peter to say,
Why?
hey, Flash is... So I don't know why, because Peter can't do anything about it. But she calls Peter to say Flash is missing. He was dressed as Spider-Man so that we could play a joke on someone. And like Peter realizes, oh, okay, that's what happened. Sorry, Liz, I can't help you. Which also
is maybe Liz reaching out because she thinks that Peter may have like stabbed Flash. Like during the break,
the last person who saw
they just
Flash
saw him
alive.
walk. They saw him walk by.
Did they? Yeah, they did. So
Yeah, they saw Peter walk by.
why would they go? Why would she call Peter? Why?
Maybe she thought Flash was at his house.
Oh, maybe they're like, maybe Flash thought of a better plan, and he's like super gonna scare Peter at his house.
Right.
So let's call Peter to see if he got scared there. That makes sense. So Peter is like, okay, well, I know what's going on. He gets a little bit of an angel and devil on his shoulder for a second, being like, yeah, just let him die. And he's like, no, I gotta go.
Completely insane. He's like, oh, good, Dr. Doom kidnapped Flash Thompson.
He says, no, I can't do that. I gotta go. Aunt May will not even let him leave. He's like, I gotta go run some errands. And she goes, no, you can't. So he goes and blows out the fuse instead. So that's an excuse for leaving.
I don't know what time of day this is, but basically he just leaves Aunt May alone in the house with no power.
Look, she's got a candle.
I guess she grew up in like pre-electricity. She may have grown up in a home with no electricity. I guess.
Yeah, she's used to it. Don't worry.
You're right. She's 1,000 years old, so she remembers medieval times.
I also just thought about. I didn't realize that like blowing a fuse was so common. I'll just go down the street and buy more fuses. Like it's like it ain't no thing. I feel like that would be a major panic situation for me.
I was like, what do I do?
If my fuse box blew, I'd be like, fuck, we gotta get an electrician here. It won't be here for 3 days. Yeah, no, like okay.
At 9 p.m., just go down to the store to buy a fuse. What store are you gonna go to?
Yeah, what store is open? This is a pre-Home Depot world.
Fast forward to the end where, like, after the whole adventure, Spider-Man comes home. He didn't even buy a fuse. And
I don't know if he blew them or he just like turned off a few switches and just didn't tell her.
I think that's
maybe he just turned.
What it was.
But it is definitely daylight the next day.
Hold on.
Like he leaves at night.
But also, like daylight. He's like mad at himself in his thought bubble about not getting the fuse, which is like, if you did just turn off the things, the breakers, then there's nothing to be upset about, man. I don't know. This kid's an idiot. He goes to fight Dr. Doom. It's kind of a long fight, actually. I think most of the issue like takes place in this fight. Dr. Doom has a machine with some like magnetic balls that spin around, but Spidey like does some webbing up business, and the balls fall down. A lot of back and forth. At one point, the Doombot is there again, sneaks up on Spidey from the back, and he's like, "Oh, the Doombot! I'd forgotten about it." And Dr. Doom's like, "Yeah, nobody can match me in the thinking department."
It's literally one robot. He's like, wow, no one can match me.
Also, Peter breaks Dr. Doom's finger blaster, so Dr. Doom can't finger blast anybody more. I'm like, gross. This is a different time.
Towards the end of this fight, Spidey starts tripping balls. Just like literally, he's tripping on balls, and the balls from the machine earlier, which he also forgot about. And he's like, he's saying like, "Oh no, I forgot about these, and I'm tripping." And Dr. Doom says, "And thus Doom will defeat all his foes," which by having them all trip on your balls. I don't Then the Fantastic Four, the Fantastic Four show up, and Doom runs away because I can't deal with all these people. And Flash Thompson is scared, and Thing is like kind of teasing him a little bit, like, "Can I just punch this guy?" I'm like, "All right, yeah, I'm okay with it," but Sue says no. J. Jonah Jameson is pissed that Peter got no pics of any of this stuff, but Betty thinks Peter is wonderful. Why was Peter there if he didn't have any pics to sell?
Great question.
Okay.
He's just like, sorry, I showed up to tell you I didn't take any pictures. I do like to Thing is, holding Flash and is like, oh, we came all the way over here. It's not the real Spider-Man. And then Reed has to like look at webs to be like, oh, the real Spider-Man was here. I'm like, oh yeah, thank you.
And I do like that Johnny says, like, "That's not Spider-Man. I've seen Spider-Man up close. This looks nothing like it." So I'm like, okay, maybe they didn't do such a good job then. And Dr. Doom hadn't met him, so he didn't. Well, he'd met him like once. Dr. Doom should have been Johnny Torch, more observant. Johnny Storm, more observant than Dr. Doom. Johnny Torch is a fine name. You know who I'm talking about. And the Human Storm, Johnny Torch. And we get, of course, now Flash Thompson is talking about how he escaped from Dr. Doom. Oh, brother, give it a rest. And that's it. Peter ends kind of sad, but you know what? He's looking at Betty Brant now. That's all right.
Mm-hmm.
Good issue. I think this is my favorite one so far. I was laughing my ass off reading this.
I do like the asterisk for BMOC, so we know that stands for Big Man on Campus. Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Dan. Didn't know.
He's gonna make a B.
Although I could see. I mean, look, if this thing is written for 8-year-olds, I could see an 8-year-old being like, BMOC, Big Man on Campus. That's what I'm gonna be one day.
or a person in 2021 that's like BMOC. What is that?
No,
is that like a person of color thing?
It may be like a dad being like, "What is this BMOC? Does B stand for the B word?" Because I remember buying like a Green Day album, and my dad was like, "What does FOD stand for?" I'm like, "I don't know, Dad." I think it stood for "fuck off and die." I think is what it does on the Green Day album. But
dance.
I honestly didn't know.
Wow.
But Dookie, I had to have it.
What does Dookie mean?
I think it means poo poo.
Oh my God!
Wow!
God, gross.
Dad let me buy it. It was $6.99 on sale at Target. It was a great day.
That's a cute word. It's a cute word. $6.99 back then.
Yeah, back in like 99, 2000. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like half price. It's crazy.
Oh, it was a good day.
All right. Well, I think that's it for this one. We're gonna read.
These issues are long. I feel like this is like half our episode runtime. It's just these Spider-Man episodes.
It takes a while. These are some big issues.
They're dense, and this one wasn't even that dense. It was just funny.
It was funny, so there was a lot to talk about in it. We've been this is a long. It's already midnight here where we're recording. Yeah. My goodness.
Yeah, we're like 1:15. We're close to it. Yeah.
We got. What are we doing next time? MODOK. Oh my goodness, this MODOK trailer. Have y'all seen it?
Yeah.
I think I've only seen like pictures and little clips of it. I haven't seen the full trailer.
They announced a bunch of animated shows for Hulu. I feel like they announced like a Squirrel Girl show and a few others and a MODOK show, and I think this is the only one that ended up actually happening. Created by and starring Patton Oswalt, so it's like up my wheelhouse. Looks very like office-y, Venture Brothers-y, Harley Quinn-ish, where he like is in an office setting. The animation looks really weird, but I don't know if we've ever covered MODOK on this show. So
I don't know if he's ever come up, but I know that I've read a few things with him, and I enjoy the character. So we're gonna be reading his first appearance, which was in Tales of Suspense number 94. It's not the whole issue. This was like one of those double comics where it was like an Iron Man comic and a Captain America comic together. I'm not sure which ones it was around 94, but MODOK's in one of the stories.
It's Captain America. He's a Captain America villain.
Perfect.
So
perfect. And it would have been sometime in the 60s here for Tales of Suspense in 94. And then so that's one quick little issue, and then we're going to read the supervillain team up, MODOK's 11 from 2007. That's the name of the miniseries. 5 issues, right?
Yes.
Written by Fred Van Lente, art by Francis Portela. Inked by, I didn't write it down, but the colorist. Who's the colorist on this?
It's Guru FX, which was the colorist company that I worked for, and I specifically worked on this book. For a few pages, I helped color. I don't remember them. Chris, you can insult the digital coloring however you want. I don't work for them anymore. But I do remember, I vaguely remember some of these pages, but we were given to it without text. We'll talk more about this next episode. I don't remember much about it, but it's fun because I never ended up reading these comics, so it'll be fun to look at.
Thank you for confessing your connection to this. This is very important for ethics and comic book journalism, which we're all part of.
I don't get any royalties. I don't know how us promoting MODOK's 11 will get anybody money. It was definitely like subcontracted out, subcontracted out to a colorist company. So I can't imagine.
Well, we'll just have to remember that myself and Chris will be impartial, and that Vince is not to be trusted next episode.
That being said, completely impartially, I do think it's a fun idea. I like Ocean's 11, and if MODOK's assembling a team, I assume that's what he's doing. Again, I never read it. That could be fun.
What? It sounds right up your alley. Why didn't you read it?
I know.
Yeah, what's the problem?
I'm not paying $3.99 for 5 goddamn issues.
That's, all right. Yeah, that's true.
Buy trade. It came out in 2008 or whatever. The next year.
Mm-hmm. I should have.
We'll
I wanted to wait for a comic book podcast 14 years later to cover it then.
It's a better time to read it, honestly. You're also smarter, and you can take it in better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but compared to the little idiot you were 15 years ago.
2007 Vince wouldn't have appreciated
it. Yeah, he didn't know what he had. This jewel that he was coloring with this broken crayon of his.
Yep, that's how we colored it.
I assume that's how you colored it. When you say digital, it's like, and then you took a picture of it.
Digital meaning like digits, like my fingers.
Oh, that makes more sense. Cool. We're also, of course, going to read Spider-Man number 6. What happens in Spider-Man number 6? Who's on the cover?
He's lizard. Going to Florida.
He's a purple and green. Have we ever had a purple and green villain in Marvel?
Never had a purple and green scientist who turns into a monster. Never.
Nope.
Never. I'm excited. Oh, he's got 2 alligators at his beck and call here, it seems. I'm excited to read about some reptiles. But I think that's it for us. I've been not streaming. I've been out of town a little bit, but I'm back. Should be streaming again soon. You know the drill. Vince, what's going on with
3 R's.
Thank you.
That was a game. My video series. It's on the All My Friends Are Right Here YouTube channel. I covered Motor Combat, MOTOR, the Mortal Kombat kart racing game a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I watched that.
Yeah, thank you. And then I've got something else in the hopper. What am I working on? I am working on Yoshi's Safari for Super Nintendo, and then the following one after that will be for the Shrek 20th anniversary. I'm doing Shrek Ogres and Dronkies, where you raise Shrek's kids and Donkey's babies. Should be terrible.
Was that Yoshi game like a shooter game?
Yeah, with a Super Scope. It's I found out that you could use the Super Nintendo mouse to play it.
Ooh, that's probably better.
Yeah, because you can't play light gun games with the Super Scope on a non-CRT TV now. And also, my parents aren't going to give me $69 to buy a Super Scope. So.
And Chris, how's your stupid minds doing?
We just released our episode on Mortal Kombat Annihilation, where a classic bad movie where you can hear lines like, "Mother, you're alive? Too bad, you will die." Dramatic readings of scenes like that.
I think I'd definitely rather listen to your podcast than watch that movie.
It's probably about as long as the movie, right?
I mean, it's like an hour and 20 minutes or so it's close.
But I can listen to Chris talk about it while I do a puzzle, and so that works.
Sure, yep. You don't have to pay attention, and there's a bunch of fighting scenes that we skip over, and a couple that we may have gotten wrong because who cares?
Who cares, indeed. I think that's the best way to approach anything Mortal Kombat related. Does anyone really care?
I realized afterwards we completely skipped over Melina's fight, and I was like, well, what are you going to do? All the Melina fans will get very upset at us.
It'll be fine.
Melina's in the new movie. She gets some stuff to do. She's fine.
Great. Good for Melina. Which I don't even know.
She's the one with Electra size.
She's the pink girl, not the blue girl.
Yeah, Katana has fans.
Oh,
Melina has size.
Electra size. I heard Electra size, which I thought like a shock therapy workout.
It's very popular in the mid-90s.
Very popular. All right. It's late. I gotta go to bed. I'm coughing now.
Oh, no.
I'm dying.
Death of a podcast host.
Vince, I love you.
I love you too.
Chris, I love you.
Oh boy, I feel bad saying this, but I was traded places with a baby earlier. So
Oh, God, no. Damn it. And listener, I love you as well. I feel better. I'm not dying. Good. All right. I think that's it. Bye, everyone. See you next time. Bye.